tell you something that might sound a little too good to be true at first? There's a simple habit spreading quietly among men in their 60s and 70s across America, and the results have been nothing short of remarkable. A single tablespoon of olive oil before bed, and by the time the sun comes up, folks are telling me they feel like they've rolled back the clock 20 years. I know, it sounds like one of those late-night infomercials, but stick with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share with you is backed by real science, real research, and real results I've seen firsthand in my practice over the last 3 decades. My name is Dr. Olivia Grant, and for more than 30 years, I've been helping men navigate the natural changes that come with aging, especially when it comes to energy, circulation, and yes, the kind of morning vitality a lot of you miss but don't like to talk about. I've sat across from thousands of patients who walked into my office feeling like strangers in their own bodies. Heavy mornings, low drive, that spark they used to have in their 30s and 40s, just gone. And almost every single one of them assumed it was just part of getting older. Something to accept, something to live with. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not the whole story, not by a long shot. Before I get into what this little kitchen staple can do for you, I want you to understand why so many of you are feeling the way you do in the first place. Because once you get the why, the how starts making a lot more sense. As men age, especially once you cross into your 60s, testosterone levels naturally begin to decline. By the time you hit your mid-60s, most men are producing less than half the testosterone they did in their 20s. That's not a small drop. That's a massive shift in the very hormone that fuels muscle strength, mental sharpness, mood, drive, and that unmistakable morning energy you used to take for granted. And it doesn't stop there. As we age, our blood vessels stiffen up. They lose that youthful elasticity, and when blood vessels get rigid, circulation slows down. Oxygen and nutrients don't reach your tissues the way they used to. And this shows up most painfully first thing in the morning, when your body is trying to wake up, rev up, and get going. If you've been waking up feeling like you slept in cement, that's not laziness, that's not a character flaw. That's your circulatory system waving a little white flag. A recent health survey here in the States found that nearly half of men over 65 report waking up feeling heavy, sluggish, or drained. Almost 1 in 2. That tells you this isn't some isolated issue. This is a nationwide pattern, and it's been ignored for way too long. But here's the good news, and the reason I made this video for all of you today. Modern nutritional science and cardiovascular research have zeroed in on a simple, everyday food that can make a genuine difference in how your body feels, functions, and yes, performs. That food is extra virgin olive oil. And before you roll your eyes and think, come on, doc, that's just salad dressing, let me stop you right there. Because what's sitting in that bottle in your pantry is a lot more powerful than you've been led to believe. Extra virgin olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal. Now, that's a mouthful, so just remember it as nature's quiet anti-inflammatory agent. Oleocanthal works on the same biological pathway as some common over-the-counter pain relievers, which tells you something about how real its effects are. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the biggest silent drivers of stiff joints, tired mornings, and sluggish blood flow. And oleocanthal gets in there and calms things down, gently, naturally, without the side effects that come from popping pills every day. Then there are the polyphenols. These are plant compounds that act as powerful antioxidants, protecting your blood vessels from oxidative stress. Think of oxidative stress like rust building up on a car. Over the years, that rust stiffens the metal and breaks things down. Polyphenols slow that process inside your body, keeping your blood vessels flexible, responsive, and youthful. And extra virgin olive oil is absolutely loaded with them. You also get a healthy dose of vitamin E, which protects the delicate cells that line your arteries. When those cells, called endothelial cells, stay healthy, your arteries stay healthy. And when your arteries stay healthy, every single system in your body benefits. I'm talking circulation, brain function, heart health, and yes, gentlemen, the kind of downstairs blood flow that makes all the difference in the world when it comes to morning performance. Now, I want to address something directly, because a lot of you came here because of the title, and I don't want to dance around it the way other channels might. Let's talk about what good blood flow actually means for a man. An erection, at its core, is a circulation event. It's not magic. It's not mysterious. It happens when a substance called nitric oxide signals the blood vessels in the penile tissue to relax and open up, allowing blood to rush in. When nitric oxide production is strong, circulation is strong, and morning erections are a natural, healthy indicator that everything is working the way it should. When nitric oxide production drops, which it does with age, with stress, with inflammation, with stiff arteries, those mornings get quieter and quieter. Here's where olive oil comes back into the picture. Extra virgin olive oil has been shown in clinical research to boost nitric oxide production. It helps your body make more of the very molecule responsible for opening those blood vessels and restoring that natural morning response. This isn't a pharmaceutical. This isn't a supplement full of mystery ingredients. This is a whole food your grandmother probably had in her kitchen, working with your body the way nature intended. Now let me tell you why the timing matters, because this is where a lot of people miss the boat. Taking olive oil first thing in the morning is fine, but taking it about an hour before bed is where the real magic happens. Your body runs on a 24-hour internal clock we call the circadian rhythm. At night, your body releases melatonin, which helps you sleep, and right alongside that, it ramps up growth hormone production. Growth hormone is your body's repair crew. It goes to work while you sleep, fixing cells, strengthening tissues, and yes, repairing blood vessels. When you give your body a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil an hour before bed, you're essentially handing that repair crew the best possible supplies. The anti-inflammatory compounds, the polyphenols, the nitric oxide boosters, they all get to work during those deep overnight repair cycles. By the time you open your eyes in the morning, your blood vessels have been relaxed, nourished, and tuned up for hours. That's why so many of my patients report that the change they notice most dramatically is in how they wake up. Lighter, clearer, more alive, and gentlemen, more often than not, with that old familiar morning signal that they hadn't felt consistently in years. Let me share a couple of real stories with you, because I know names and numbers on a page don't always land the way a story does. Robert, 65, lives out in Columbus, Ohio. Retired engineer, spent his whole career up early and on the move. But after he retired, things started to shift. He told me mornings started feeling like wading through molasses. He'd lost the pep in his step, didn't want to get out of bed, and honestly, he told me he figured this was just what 65 looked like. A buddy of his mentioned the nightly olive oil routine, and Robert, being the skeptic that he is, figured he'd try it just to prove it didn't work. Within about a week, something shifted. He started waking up before his alarm. His body felt lighter. He told me, and I'll never forget this, he said, "Doc, I feel like I got a piece of myself back." Today, Robert walks 3 miles every morning, strength trains twice a week, and told his wife he hasn't felt this good since his early 50s. Then there's James, 72, down in Sarasota, Florida, retired school teacher. James had been on blood pressure medication for years, and while it kept his numbers in check, the side effects were wearing him down. Fatigue, foggy thinking, low energy all day long. His cardiologist greenlit him trying some lifestyle changes in addition to his regimen, and James added that nightly tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. After about 2 weeks, he noticed mornings felt different. The fog was lifting. He had the energy to take his grandkids to the beach, to play pickleball with the guys at his community, to enjoy a morning cup of coffee without needing 3 more just to function. His words to me were simple. He said, "I stopped feeling 72. What both of these men have in common isn't some dramatic overnight transformation. It's the slow, steady, deeply real kind of change that actually lasts. The kind that comes from working with your body instead of fighting it." I want to share some of the science behind this too, because I know a lot of you are smart, thoughtful folks who want to see the evidence before you buy in, and I respect that. A clinical study conducted at Tel Aviv University took 100 adults between the ages of 50 and 75 and had them take 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil daily for 12 weeks. At the end of the study, the researchers found significantly improved function in the endothelial cells that line the blood vessels. They also measured something called flow-mediated dilation, which is basically how well your blood vessels can open up and let blood flow through. Those numbers went up meaningfully. That's not opinion. That's measurable, observable improvement in the very mechanism that controls erections, energy, and overall vitality. Closer to home, researchers at institutions like the Mayo Clinic and Harvard have been studying the Mediterranean diet for decades, and extra virgin olive oil sits right at the heart of that way of eating. Populations that consume olive oil daily show lower rates of cardiovascular disease, better cognitive function into old age, and yes, better reported sexual health into their 70s and beyond. This isn't one single study you can wave away. This is decades of consistent, global research all pointing the same direction. Now, I know what some of you are thinking because I've gotten this question hundreds of times. You're looking at your pantry, at that bottle of olive oil you picked up at the grocery store, and you're wondering, is mine good enough? And honestly, this is the question I wish more people asked before starting this routine. Because not all olive oil is created equal. Not even close. Here's what you need to look for. First, it has to say extra virgin. Not pure, not light, not refined. Extra virgin is the highest grade, meaning it's been cold pressed from the olive fruit without heat or chemicals, preserving all those precious compounds we've been talking about. Second, look for the acidity level. Real extra virgin olive oil has an acidity below 0.8%. Good ones are below 0.5. If it's not on the label, that's a red flag. Third, buy it in a dark glass bottle, not clear plastic. Light degrades the polyphenols fast. So if that bottle's been sitting under fluorescent grocery store lights in clear packaging, most of the good stuff is already gone. Fourth, look for a harvest date on the label, not just a best buy date, but an actual harvest date. Fresh oil within a year of harvest has the most active compounds. Fifth, pay attention to country of origin. Single origin oils from Italy, Greece, Spain, or even high-quality California producers tend to be more reliable than blends with no clear source. Expect to pay somewhere between $15 and $30 for a decent bottle. If it costs $6 for a giant jug at the warehouse store, trust me, it's not going to do what we're talking about here. Now let me talk about how to actually take it, because I know for some of you, the idea of spooning olive oil straight is not exactly appetizing. That peppery finish at the back of the throat, that's actually the oleocanthal, by the way, so the burn is a good sign. But if you can't stomach it straight, I've got 3 easy ways to work it into your evening routine. First, drizzle a teaspoon over plain Greek yogurt. Sounds weird, I know, but the tanginess of the yogurt and the richness of the oil balance each other beautifully. Plus, the probiotics in the yogurt work hand in hand with the anti-inflammatory properties of the oil. Perfect evening snack. Second, stir it into a warm broth. Chicken broth, bone broth, even a light miso if you've got it. The warmth brings out the aroma of the oil and the combination is gentle on your stomach. Great option before bed. Third, mix it with raw honey. Equal parts oil and honey, stir them together, take it off a spoon. The sweetness of the honey mellows out the oil sharpness, and honey itself has a long history of supporting restful sleep and recovery. This is my personal favorite, and most of my patients end up landing on this one too. Whichever method you choose, consistency is what wins. Doing it every single night for at least 3 to 4 weeks is how you start to really feel the difference. Skipping days, taking it once a week, that's not going to cut it. This is about building up over time. A few important cautions before you head to the pantry. 1 tablespoon a day, about 13 grams, is the sweet spot. More is not better. Olive oil is calorie dense. And if you start chugging 3 or 4 tablespoons a day, thinking you'll get results faster, you're going to pack on weight and upset your stomach. Keep it to the recommended amount. If you have gallbladder issues or trouble digesting fats, talk to your doctor before starting this routine. Same goes if you're on any medications that interact with fat absorption, or if you're being treated for any serious liver condition. And don't take it on a completely empty stomach if you have a sensitive gut. A little something light before or alongside the oil is ideal. Also, if you're on blood thinners or blood pressure medication, let your physician know you're adding olive oil to your nightly routine. It shouldn't cause problems for most people, but your doctor needs the full picture. Now, I want to come back around and put all of this together for you because I don't want you walking away from this video with a jumble of facts. I want you walking away with a plan, and more importantly, with hope. Here's what we know. As you age, testosterone drops, blood vessels stiffen, nitric oxide production falls, and inflammation rises. This is why mornings feel heavy, why energy fades, and why that natural morning vitality disappears. It's not your fault, and it's not the end of the road. Extra virgin olive oil, taken nightly, works on every single one of those mechanisms. It reduces inflammation, boosts nitric oxide, protects blood vessel health, and works in sync with your body's natural overnight repair cycle. A single tablespoon before bed, consistently, can help restore the circulation, the clarity, and yes, the morning strength you thought you'd lost for good. I've watched this simple habit change lives. I've watched men walk back into my office 6 months after starting it with a kind of light in their eyes I hadn't seen in years. Men who thought they were done with that chapter of life, discovering they were just getting warmed up for the next one. And I'll tell you something, after 30 years of doing this work, the most powerful medicine I've ever seen isn't locked behind a prescription. It's sitting in kitchens, in simple habits, in choices you make every single evening before your head hits the pillow. You don't need to wait for a miracle. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on some fancy clinic. You need a good bottle of extra virgin olive oil, a spoon, and the willingness to give your body 3 to 4 weeks to show you what it can still do. That's it. Start tonight. Pour that tablespoon, take it in whatever way works for you, and let your body go to work while you sleep. And then pay attention to how you feel in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month. Write it down if you have to. I think you're going to surprise yourself. Before you go, I want to ask a favor. If this video gave you even one piece of information that you think might help, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. I put these videos out to help men like you take back control of your health, and every subscription helps me reach more folks who need to hear this. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what town or state you're watching from. I read every single one, and I might even shout you out in the next video. If you've already been using olive oil, let me know how long you've been doing it and what changes you've noticed. Your stories help other men in this community feel less alone, and they help me tailor the next video to what you all actually want to learn about. Next week, I'll be talking about prostate health and 3 simple evening habits that every man over 60 should know about. You don't want to miss it. Until then, take care of yourself, give your body a fighting chance, and remember, it's never too late to start feeling like yourself again. I'll see you in the next video.